So 400 से 4000 and now roughly at 8000 is the number of EVs that we've deployed, the largest in the country, right? Happy about it, and I think still just very small out of what we can serve. So I think it's just one bike versus what the country needs.
It just amazes me कि कहाँ से start किया था और आज like you see Zip everywhere. So, you know, one thing is that while you were building Zip, your family didn't know that you're building Zip. So why did you take that call?
करना तो है, काश नहीं बोलना पूरी जिंदगी, राइट? या तो काश बोलते रहो या फिर लोग बोले यार आकाश ने कर दिया, देखो बड़े भाई कर रहा है अपना बिजनेस, क्या मतलब आजकल के बच्चे. वी टुक दैट लाइसेंस फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट and I must thank my team that they said that whatever come what may, we are standing on ground and we'd love to serve this movement together. I always am on the moon when I'm thinking something that ये तो एक साल में यहाँ पहुँच जाएंगे, and she's like ये हो ही नहीं सकता.
क्या आपकी डिलीवरीज जिप पे आ रही हैं? मेरी शायद स्नैपचैट पे तो स्ट्रीक नहीं बनती है, बट डेफिनेटली जिप इलेक्ट्रिक रोज दिख रही है और एक स्ट्रीक बन चुकी है. एंड एवरी टाइम आई सी अ जिप आई एम लाइक वेट फॉर इट. जिप कैसे बना, ये पॉडकास्ट हम लेके आ रहे हैं. वेलकम बैक टू अनदर अमेजिंग एपिसोड ऑफ द क्लाइंटप्रेन्योर शो. इन टुडेज एपिसोड वी आर स्पीकिंग विद द मैन बिहाइंड जिप, द मैन हु हैज क्रिएटेड जिप, द co-founder and CEO of Zip Electric, Akash Gupta, someone who is decarbonizing the future of deliveries. Mission Zero Emission. Someone who is a true rock star at heart. Tune in to enjoy the entire conversation. While you do that, please, dosto, do not forget to hit the subscribe button. Welcome, Akash, on the Clampreneur Show.
Thank you once again, Shweta.
Thank you once again, and thank you
Yeah.
for coming once again. Like oftentimes when we travel on road, like I show everyone, देखो zip, यही है zip, that, and like it's everywhere, and it just amazes me कि कहाँ से start किया था और आज like you see zip everywhere. So, one thing is that because I know that you did not have a very easy childhood, it was a very tough childhood. And one of the things that while you were building Zip, your family didn't know that you're building Zip. So, why did you take that call? And, why did you actually not tell them that you were building Zip?
Yeah, so initially when I started, so the thought trickled in my head very strongly. So I had a few days when Rashi, who's my wife, she was out with her friends, right? And I have always been researching. I've been living two lives, right? One life where I'm working for 12 hours for a company where I'm employed in, and the other 5-6 hours I'm working for myself, thinking what I need to do, researching, only researching madly, right, about various startups, crunch bases of the world and whatnot, right, reading about all the rounds that are happening. तो ये सब करते करते जब मेरे को एक हफ्ता बिल्कुल मी टाइम मिला, right, when I had no interference of any kind, and then this thought came in of sustainability, and then Zip Electric was born in my head during that 1 week in May of 2017. And then I first convinced Rashi that this is what and she was there only, she was in Northeast with her friends. I called her that I have found what I am going to do now, and I think you should join me in this journey because it's going to be big. And she was like, oh, it's night, I'm enjoying with my friends, I'll come back. I said that this is going to be the next calling. So, and then she came in. I think it took about a week for her to understand what I'm trying to think. Obviously, our numbers were way ahead. I always am on the moon when I'm thinking something that ये तो एक साल में यहाँ पहुँच जाएंगे. And she's like, ये हो ही नहीं सकता. How can you do 12 rides in a day? It cannot happen. And she's usually right when it comes to these estimations. And I'm usually always very optimistic. But then somehow I convinced her that this will work. So one was her conviction, and then I was still working, right, at a very good, designation, a VP marketing, a good CTC, a good ESOP plan, right? Everything was sorted. So telling this to my parents, I felt that they will really go crazy about this, right? That they will, and my mom is very emotional, right? So she'll, once was one time convincing her on my marriage. That was not easy. And then convincing her on this, it would have been crazy. So I said that let me start building this. I have to do this. I started building this, and then after 6 months, when we opened our office and we hired the first team of 8-9 people, that's when I said that now is the time when I need to tell her, and I had quit by that time, right? So, and obviously it was not well received, right? Both my parents were like, what are you doing? And 2017 still startups were there, but not so crazy, right? Now, though, I think parents are finding founders for their daughters, but it was not the time at even then. So yeah, so convincing them took some time, but then I said that, see, you know that I'm not someone who would just do anything. I'm a mature guy now, right? I'm a 30 plus guy. Whatever I'm doing, I have some deep thought about this. Let's give it in, and I told them that 1-1.5 साल देते हैं, नौकरी मिल जाएगी, डोंट वरी. इतना सीख लिया, मेहनत करते हैं, नौकरी मिल जाएगी, करने दो. And then obviously whenever I go back to Jaipur, they would still poke me, क्यों कर रहा है, क्या कर रहा है, and this is not directly, right? When you're sitting with family members, देखो मतलब, so I have my mama ji whom we call as बड़े भाई. देखो बड़े भाई कर रहा है अपना बिजनेस, क्या मतलब आजकल के बच्चे, that is how they will just do a small poke. But then obviously,
Did it hurt you back then? Like today we are smiling about it, but did it somewhere like hurt you, or did it somewhere make you feel कि अगर नहीं करा, yeah, did it actually get that fear of failure inside you sometimes? Because I, like, not now like I'm immune to these things, but initially when this used to happen, like, with me the thing was that okay, I was getting a good job in London.
हाँ
तो देखो लंदन से जॉब छोड़ के आ गई.
हाँ
Like my parents have been super supportive, but there are people who would come to you in the consoling tone
हाँ
that कोई नहीं, चल जाएगा, धीरे धीरे होगा,
Yeah.
but हो जाएगा, कुछ तो कर रही है, लड़की है,
सही है.
क्या हो गया. So like initially it used to be like कि अगर fail हो गई तो क्या. So did you had that fear of failure in your?
या सो फियर ऑफ फेलियर तो नहीं बोलूँगा. आई एम नेवर फियर ऑफ फेलिंग. आई एम अ डाई हार्ड ऑप्टिमिस्ट, राइट? तो मैं सोचता ही नहीं नेगेटिव, आती ही नहीं है चीज़ें. मैं सो जाता हूँ और फिर अगले दिन जाग के फिर पॉजिटिव एनर्जी से जागता हूँ. बट येस, व्हेन दीज कॉन्वर्सेशंस हैपन, I feel a lot challenged, right? My adrenaline rises that, yaar, there's someone who's challenging you. There's someone who's, saying that you will fail or you're doing something wrong. And you are very clear in your head कि जो आप कर रहे हो वो आप सही डायरेक्शन में कर रहे हो. तो मतलब वो फिर मुझे ना एक अलग टाइप का रश देता है कि यार फिर और मेहनत करेंगे, अब और जान लगाएंगे और जल्दी सक्सेस की कोशिश करेंगे, राइट? तो ये है. आई मीन व्हेन यू सेड दैट येस नाउ जिप इज़ वेरी विजिबल, तो वो एक, अब आई थिंक थैंकफुली आफ्टर सो मेनी ईयर्स नाउ दे आर प्राउड, राइट? सो नाउ दे से आफ्टर 3-4 years ऑफ दिस बिल्डिंग, सो 3 साल तो लगे, बट उसके बाद नाउ दे टॉक कि ये देखो ही इज़ डूइंग अ गुड जॉब. नाउ दे फील प्राउड, दे टॉक अबाउट व्हाट आई एम डूइंग. सो वो बहुत अच्छा लगता है व्हेन दे कम इन दिल्ली एनसीआर एंड व्हेन दे सी दीज जिप्स, तो ये आस्क, अच्छा ये भी तुम्हारा है, अरे ये भी तुम्हारा है. सो वो बड़ा मज़ा आता है, राइट? सो येस, it's an
Also,
interesting
yeah,
journey.
just say like you told that you and Rashi build this together, and definitely, it's not easy. Also, like you both would have had your like layer of challenges. So, what were the initial challenges that you both faced? Because from life partners to becoming co-founders, like what were there arguments? Sometimes were there like what were your challenges?
Yeah, so I think we are common from one lens that we are both very hardworking. That goes without saying. We are crazy hardworking people, but we are very, very different in our thinking. And ask me about it, right? How that pans out, because I am, again, when I am saying something with a very high conviction, and she's also coming with a totally different opinion with a very high conviction, right? And mostly these are around numbers and financing, and she's better on the financial side of things. I am better on the vision side of things, right? And when we talk about investments, when we talk about that crazy growth, that's where most of the things, I will say let's go to 5 cities, she'll say no, let's focus on 1 city. तो वहाँ पे we have had not just these, we have had a lot of I would say arguments, fights, वो तो चलता ही रहता है. But yes, I think over the last 5 years, we've slowly graduated. Slowly, I would say not graduated, graduating, right, towards finding what we both are good at and respecting that. And slowly and steadily, we realize that we are mostly on a deadlock, right? तो हम फिर और वो चीज़ें घर पे हो रही होती हैं बिकॉज घर पे भी बिजनेस ही चल रहा होता है ऑल द टाइम, राइट? सो देन वी हैव आर थर्ड को फाउंडर, राइट? सो तुषार से बात करते हैं, फिर अगर हम तीनों का डेडलॉक होता है तो टीम के लीडर्स को बुला के आइडिया लेते हैं, कभी कभी पोल डाल देते हैं यार, टीम को सबको पूछो व्हाट्सएप पे कि यार क्या लग रहा है. So yeah, so I think that is how we kind of find our way out, mostly by leaving that topic for now and then talking about it later. But hopefully we'll find that balance at some point.
But I also feel that like initially when arguments used to happen like between the team like with us as well, so like it used to bother me a lot. But now I also feel that these arguments actually help you take a better decision, because like
Yeah,
it pushes you into brainstorming that okay, why is the other person coming with this perspective, why the second person is doing that. So I think like arguments are good, like if you,
yes, yeah,
because
yeah. Someone should be a devil's advocate in the room, right? Because if you're all positive, then you're not thinking what can go
it
wrong.
gets a more
So
balanced.
Rashi does that very well. Yeah.
So now let's address the elephant in the room. What is Zip? What are you doing with Zip Electric? And why did you enter into the mobility space?
Sure. See, the idea was to solve pollution and climate change, right? It had to be through mobility. Why? Because that's where the maximum pollution is coming out, according to me, right? There are about 300 million trips happening in our country every day. Uh, 200 million of these trips are short trips, less than 10-kilometer trips, right? जहाँ पे maximum pollution होता है. So that's why we said that if we shift all these small last mile commutes into electric, we'll save the cities from pollution at the happening at where the mobility is lying. तो उसको शिफ्ट करने की कोशिश करी. वी स्टार्टेड अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ पायलट्स ऑन द पर्सनल मोबिलिटी साइड ऑल्सो, राइट, विद आर फर्स्ट अवतार वेयर वी टोल्ड पीपल दैट पिक अप अ बाइक फ्रॉम द मेट्रो स्टेशन, ड्रॉप इट, राइट? We then realized that it's a little ahead of time, not just in India but in the globe. It is a good way for mobility, but it'll take some time, right? Let people build that cadence of using things in a better way, not abuse them. But at the same time, while we were doing it, it was picking up well. We were getting a lot of requests from businesses, right? E-commerce companies, food delivery companies, that can you do something with EVs with us, right? And being a startup, we should always be open to ideas. Don't just jump into it, but at least yes, accept it. So we said let's do a pilot. There's no harm. We will do a pilot. Let's see how that works out. So we in 2019 we kind of started doing this pivot where we said that let's, while our business is EV as a service, we are solving for EV adoption for the country. Why not focus on the larger meat of the problem, which is the delivery? And when we started doing this, we realized that yes, this is what we should have been doing. What are we doing? Today, why are we solving people commute? That's anyway small, metro to office, it's 5 kilometers. Then the person will go back from office to home in the evening, right? So वो पूरे दिन क्या करेगा? You're just solving 15, 20 kilometers in a day for one bike. Why don't you solve 100 kilometers, which is where the delivery boys come into the play? They are riding the maximum. They are suffering the most. They're creating the maximum pollution, and the price pressure is also the most there. So then we started working for the e-commerce companies. We started with Big Basket, we started with Zomato, and then kind of and then suddenly we realized that while we were doing this and it was slowly picking up, again small portion of our business, COVID happened, right? After 2019, this 2020 COVID happened, and then we realized that while this was 20% of our business by that time, there was so much demand. Everyone wanted deliveries. We took that license from the government, and I must, thank my team that they said that whatever come what may, we are standing on ground and we'd love to, serve this movement together, right? So we all stood. We said that deliveries businesses are wanting EVs or a good, robust, reliable delivery solution. Can we, take the moment of truth and kind of start solving for them? So one business, two business, 10 businesses, came forward, and we were what about at that time about 300-400 EVs, right? तो हमने सब लगा दिया उसमें, लास्ट माइल डिलीवरी करने लगे. And that just very clearly opened our numbers, opened the impact that we were creating. We were super happy because now we were not just impacting the problem of climate change or pollution, but we were also impacting the lives of those delivery executives, which is a big financial inclusion idea, according to me. The guy who doesn't have money to pay for the bike or the down payment, now we are giving him a platform to just invest very small capital, no down payment, just pay us a daily rental, weekly rental, monthly rental, and start earning, right? So, and solve the problem of that business, solve the problem of the government push of electrification, decarbonization. So it was, then no looking back. So 400 se 4000 and now roughly at 8000 is the number of EVs that we've deployed, the largest in the country, right? Happy about it. And I think still just very, very small out of what we can serve. So I think it's just one bike versus what the country needs, even this 8000.
And we're also seeing that, like we see like a lot of these trucks with Zip Logistics. So what is that?
Yeah, so see, we are again. So EV as a service is the focus. The first offering of our service is to build a robust supply for last mile delivery, right? So because as I said that today the bigger problem that we see to solve is last mile delivery, and hence we are focused on that. Once we graduate in a city serving very well on last mile delivery, what more we can do is what we'll always be open to, right? So when we do very well on two-wheelers, food, grocery mostly happens on two-wheelers. But when you go to e-commerce, when you go to larger shipments, it happens via three-wheelers. And hence we've deployed three-wheelers also, which are, vans, which are again electric. And they are growing with a few businesses like a Big Basket or a Porter and a few more, right? Tomorrow there'll be trucks, possibly we might add, right? And if we feel that yes, now the market of mobility is also grown, we can even offer it to individuals, right? So yeah, kind of very open while very focused, because not digressing into too many things is what I have learned. Being a startup, you should focus on one problem, which is what we've done very well over the last 2.5 years. Focused on two-wheelers a lot more, focused on delivery a lot more, focused on a couple of markets, Delhi NCR primarily a lot more, and hence, we've been able to do what we've been able to do well.
And with deliveries, like we see this like thing floating on the internet a lot of times, that are these 10 minutes deliveries even good? Like because they are, they actually impact the drivers, maybe, safety, because sometimes they are in rush, and also like we talk about climate change. So what are your thoughts on it? Like, because there is like a section which says that it's not good, there's a section which says we need it. So where do you stand at it?
So frankly, 10-minute is a little bit of an overkill. Now the entire industry is now moved to about 20-minute, right? Mostly. But I think fast deliveries is what people need, right? For sure. Gone are the days when people would order now and will wait after 2 to 3 days to deliver. It's the same day or the soonest possible delivery, which is what people like, right? Even if it's a phone that you've ordered, you would need that craving that, yeah, hey, I want to have it in my hands, or it'll come 2 days. No, I want to work with that platform which can deliver it sooner, right? So that's the need of the hour, and that's where globally the e-commerce is now moved to quick commerce. It's bound to happen, right? Now, talking about the safety of the drivers, it is actually not at all about speed. The game is not speed at all in quick commerce. The game is about having the warehouse closer to the customer home and reducing that distance of delivery. Typically, when all these quick commerce companies work where we have a very large share of deliveries, we even are working with low-speed electric bikes in that direction, not high-speed scooters. We are going one step down where we are putting electric bikes to do the same deliveries, because see, it is a 10-minute delivery, but if you're delivering only 2 kilometers, then the speed will be 10-15 kilometer per hour. So why do you need a 60-70 kilometer speed bike there? Even our capped speed today is 50-55, because we feel that delivery boy doesn't need in any case. Even while for food or a Domino's delivery, you don't need a higher speed than that, because city ही इतनी speed पे नहीं चलती आज की डेट में, right? So it's a little bit of a myth where a quick commerce is perceived as if it's actually quick. It's actually a lot more data science, it's a lot more planning, it's a lot more warehousing, and how soon you can pack that shipment and hand it over to the driver. Then it's a very normal speed of delivery.
And how many deliveries are you making, say, today, like in a month or in a day?
We're doing close to 50,000 deliveries a day, right? In fact, that was last month, yeah. So about 1.5 million deliveries a month.
But that's, like anyway, the deliveries are happening, but the way you're
Yeah.
making that like electric, that last mile mobility. So like that's a huge number, like 50,000 deliveries a day. How many kilometers like you've actually impacted?
Oh yeah, that's crazy because each delivery would be about 8 to 10 kilometers. So you can imagine, we are driving 4 lakh kilometers every day, 4 to 5 lakh kilometers every day, which are all green, and reducing that pollution from the cities. So it's crazy. We've saved about 2.9 million kilos of carbon. We have actually, if you do that math, we've traveled 174 times from Earth to Moon on electric vehicles.
174 times
From Earth to Moon is what we've traveled. Yeah, using these electric bikes over the last few
And the
years.
best part, Pata hai, Akash, is that like you have used both the approaches, like top down and bottom up also. Because on one hand, you're working with all these big companies, collaborating with them. On the other hand, the way you are actually empowering the drivers, so they're also becoming the part of the electric system, and like that, I think is something that you have cracked like very well. So before we go into the next question, I want to ask from you that give me some driver stories that you might have had, like where they have shared their experiences or something that probably is close to your heart.
Oh, I had a very amazing experience 2 3 days back, right? So it was my birthday, right? And I was having a meeting with my colleagues in the office, and then suddenly someone came that there's a person on the door, right? And it was a very humbling experience. There was a delivery boy who found out that through social media that it was my birthday. He's been working with us for the last 1.5 years. His name is Harish. He works in Gurgaon. He came with a printed photo of mine in his hand, with a photo frame as a gift, and that was so sweet of him to find me, come to the office, and he got a cameraman with him because he wanted to record that experience. So it was so amazing, and there are so many more stories. I mean, we have women drivers. There are about 150 women drivers who are being impacted because of this. Again, a big project that we are driving for women empowerment and, again, social impact. A lot of these people come in from small towns. They don't have any support system back home, right? Even to buy the bike or having bank accounts. Forget buying a bike, they don't have even bank accounts. We sometimes open the bank accounts for the first time, right? So feel really great, and I think one of the missions for us across the team is what more we can do for these delivery executives, because I mean, we have our value systems, TRIB, tribe करके बोलते हैं, right? So R is rider first. How much more we can give him back, and how much more we can tell him that he can earn more. And frankly, we want to make this Zip as the best platform for these guys, right? Where they come, they just open and they can clearly see that, oh, this is the way that I can make 900 to 1,000 rupees a day, right? By paying a small cost on a rental of the bike. I think that's the home for us. If we're able to kind of switch all of them to Zip because of what we do for them.
You will, I think that, and the way you said that guy came, I think that's really the company culture that you have built, like how accessible you are. And I also know that you also make some deliveries.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
how
absolutely.
often do you do that, and why do you do that?
Yeah, so see, this is what I try to visit a lot on the ground. I even, in fact, half the month I commute from my home to office on a Zip scooter only, right? Because I am still the chief tester of anything that rolls out from our tech team, or any new scooter which comes in. I will be the first one to test it out because I have been doing that from day one. I have slowly learned some of these nuances which are not productized or tech, but wo experience on the road, on the Indian roads, on what the driver wants, what the customer wants, what the EV should be, I think वो अंदर अब आ चुका है. I think I've driven maximum kilometers, possibly in India, I don't know, on an electric two-wheeler. So I enjoy doing that, right? And yes, so we have this notion क्या, ये तो policy है, where every month, one day, the entire team goes out, and we call it a deliver yourself, so that everyone knows ki what the driver goes through, what is the pain point of the customer, what's the route that we are taking, how the tech is working, how that end experiences, and what more we can do, right? It's not just a very transactional relationship. It cannot be that we pick a shipment and we deliver. उसमें क्या मजा है, वो तो कोई भी कर लेगा. But what more we can impact during that trip for that driver, maybe showcase him that आप यहाँ पे हो, ये डायरेक्शन बेटर है, राइट? आपने इतना कमाया, आप ये और करोगे तो और ज़्यादा कमा सकते हो. इस बाइक को आपको ऐसे चार्ज करना है, राइट? इसकी स्पीड ऐसे माइलेज आती है, आपको डोर नॉक ऐसे करना है, आपको स्माइल करना है. ये सारी चीज़ें जब आप खुद करते हो तब समझ में आती है, राइट? तो इसलिए हम लोग ये करते हैं. बहुत मज़ा आता है, एंड एक्सपीरियंसेस आते हैं. जब ड्राइवर से बात करते हैं तो उसका एक्चुअली दर्द पता चलता है कि ये हम ऑफिस में बैठ के तो सब अच्छा लगता है, या फिर जब बाहर निकलते हैं तब पता लगता है कि अरे जब बारिश आई थी वो इस तरह से स्टक था, या जब वो मेंटेनेंस का बटन क्लिक करता है तो उसको कभी कभी टीम से बोल देते हैं भाई आप यहाँ पे आओ, जबकि हमें वहाँ पे जाना है, राइट? सो दीज थिंग्स आर व्हाट वी लर्न, एंड दैट इज़ हाउ वी कैन इम्प्रूव द एक्सपीरियंस ओवरऑल ऑफ व्हाट वी विश टू अचीव, राइट? आई डोंट थिंक सो दैट वी हैव अचीव्ड एंड वी आर ऑलरेडी ऑन द मून. आई वुड से वी विल बी जस्ट 10-15% of what where we want to go. So that is what brings all the joy, and hence we do
And
that.
like when you said the challenges people face, like for example, like few things which we have heard it that like there's a range anxiety that is associated with EV, and then seeing the EV vehicles catch fire. So are these also some fears among the drivers? So like what are your thoughts on it? And B, that you have been in this space, you have been in these conversations for a really long time. So what are some of the myths that you have heard about EV?
No, see, I think a lot of myths, to be very frank. A lot of people feel that EVs are only low speed, right? While they can run at 60, 70 also. A lot of people, now it's just a buzzword and every conversation is all about fire. It's not that big a thing, right? It has been there. Definitely there have been instances and people are learning and correcting, course correcting from that. Touchwood, Zip, we didn't, have these instances because we've been working with the right battery chemistries, which is LFP, which is safer, right? And hence our drivers are, much safer and they don't feel that challenge. But I think it's all about buying the right product, working with the right OEMs, having those tests and checks and balances in the systems and processes, which have been missed by some because of the haste and the speed of execution or taking shortcuts with a technology which is very new, and hence those things have happened. And now there's a new regulation from the government, which is a new rule on the battery standards, AIS 816 is something that we call it, where now the government has mandated that if these checks are not made, then the battery OEM cannot make batteries only, which was a miss. So it's a great step and great learning that the entire country has now moved to. So the BMS has to be there, the thermal packing has to be in a certain way, the mechanical packing has to be in a certain way, right? And which is what is done a lot of impact on the entire EV industry, especially on the OEM side. But I think it's good. I know the speed will slow down a little bit for a couple of months, but once it'll be back again, it'll be much safer and hence much more adoptable.
And how do you address the range anxiety issue?
See, we have done that over the years in a lot of ways, right? So we realized early on that a delivery boy needs 120 kilometers. We were working with a single battery option at that time. Then we straight away moved that every vehicle will have two batteries, which means that it will be pre-fitted with a 120 kilometer range for the driver. So at least he's sorted. Then we said, when the infrastructure is not there, let's give him a charger, right? So there's a lot of tech that we built to ensure that each guy is mapped to a charger and the batteries, and he belongs and charges them daily. He's guided, right? Now a lot of people don't have charging points at their homes, right? So we created charging infrastructure where we set up, a lot of hubs of big baskets and others where we have our charging points where the driver can go and charge these bikes so that he doesn't have to worry. Even if he wants to go beyond 100, he can do a rest of 2-3 hours and then charge that bike. But then we realized that's still not good enough. It's downtime. and hence then we kind of moved to swapping, right? In fact, we announced recently a very big partnership with Kogoro, right? Which is I think one of the biggest partnerships which happened in the Indian ecosystem, especially on the EV delivery side, right? So we feel that swapping helps us, which is doing a hot swap reduces the time of charge for that driver, and hence he can do a lot more miles, and the range anxiety totally now goes away from his head because he has an 80 kilometer. He has a swapping station which is on the app 2-3 kilometers from him at any point in time. He can go there, take a hot swap within 6 seconds, right? And he gets another 80 kilometers, right? So 160 kilometers. If he's done with that, another swap, 240 kilometers. So that's the beauty of swap. There's no wait, there's no worry where I will charge the battery, right? It's just churning out the asset a lot more, making him earn a lot more, making our asset sweat a lot more, which is what our business is all about.
And also that, like when you said that you have done partnership, one of the biggest partnerships, and also, my point here is that I think collaboration has really helped you to be where you are today. Like you have done very smart collaborations, to be honest. Like you've hit the bullseye, like working with the right partners. And also, like when it comes to like you manufacture your own
No,
scooties?
we don't.
So
We again, that's a partnership.
so
Yeah.
even that partnership, so like I want to understand from you that what role does partnership has played in it, and for example, how does it work? So are you sourcing scooties from like a particular brand, and then how do you do that?
See, I've always been, since the time I have moved into business roles after my tech stint, I have been a major partnerships guy, right? Even in Airtel, Snapdeal, and even MobiQuick, I have driven a lot of partnership for these businesses, whether it's with the Future Group or large stuff on the app side. So yeah, so I believe that when you are doing a seismic shift in mobility, which is moving it all from IC engine to electric, and that's your mission. You can't do it all alone, right? You can definitely not do it all alone, or you can wait for another 100 years for that to happen, right? But you have short time. You want to get it done in 10-15 years. Hence, let's divide the entire ecosystem into parts. Let's figure out what you want to do, which is your core, and let's find players who can create those hooks so that their business also grows, and they also have a partner in arms who's helping them grow, right? So yeah, so within this EV ecosystem, the first challenge for us was to find the right OEM, right? One or two, three key OEMs. So we've been able to find a few good OEMs who are now ready to go exclusive with Zip in the B2B segment, right? Which is big, right? Because once we crack those partnerships, then it's all about giving those commitments, taking those numbers, and once they also realize that yes, they are growing every day, why will somebody want to lose that business, right? In a country which is growing, right? So that's how the OEM partnerships cracked. Then even on the financing side, we've done crazy amount of work. I think it's not easy to get two-wheeler EV financing in the country, but we have now dozens of partners, and now banks are giving us crazy amount of capital that please deploy. Now they have 5 years of Zip tested, proven profitability, right? So that is knocking our doors. Finding the right customers. Obviously, customers love us. In fact, one of the VCs spoke to a lot of our customers. The one thing that came out, and they were surprised, and thanks again to the team in terms of how they've executed, but our customers love us, right? And I'm super happy that these are top e-commerce food delivery companies in the country, and they love Zip because what we've been able to deliver for them, right? So that's great. Obviously, then comes the swapping and charging. Now we could have done this on our own, but we very early realized that it's like building a separate business. Now either I build three businesses, and being a startup, I think that's where people fail. When you start doing too many things, you don't have focus, and that is what I've learned as a founder. I didn't know that on day one, but slowly and steadily, when I have done some, things which I should not have done, because I'm also a founder and I keep trying to do new things. But then I realized that focus is critical. In fact, even the now startups who are going IPO, they are learning that, right? Case in point, Zomato has cut down a lot of additional businesses. Ola has done that, quite a lot of that. Uh, Paytm has done that quite a lot. Any ancillary business which is not core to you, and it's not a future plan, don't do that on a crazy level. Do a pilot, successful, see how you want to do this yourself or someone else, and then partner. So we do long-term partnerships across the board, and then it's all about ecosystem, right? You grow, we grow, and let's tighten the partnership.
Crazy. You know, like I can go like on so many moments at wow, and like there were so many wow moments, but I want, like, that's the last question actually I want to know from you, that on day one you did not had these partnerships, on day one you did not had this trust, on day one banks were not probably like the way they are with you right now, they were not there. So what were those initial days like, and how did you, like, what things you feel that you did right at that point of time that really led you to where you're today? And also, did you hear a lot of no's while you were just starting out Zip?
Yeah, frankly, a lot of no's, I would say. पहला तो फैमिली का ही था, right? And then when we were out to find the right OEMs, we were not able to. When we were trying to ask the OEMs that these are the customizations that we need in the bikes for our B2B business, we heard a lot of no's, right? But then
Did it
we were
trouble
dogged.
you?
Yeah, we got, in some ways, I would say that whenever we get stuck somewhere, we try to open another door, right? That's what a founder's job is. That, okay, this door is closed, let's find another one. Okay, this door is closed, let's find another one. So we kept, the hunt out, right? If banks were closed, we found a very interesting way, and this is again one of the case studies that we did. Banks were not funding us. There were no financial institutions that were ready to, loan the bikes. We said, koi nahi, let's ask the friends. Let's ask on social media our customers. Why don't you invest in bikes and give it to on lease to us? तो ये तो बहुत ही crazy था, where we told all our customers, all the social media people who follow me or my friends or my teams, that we want you to invest one bike, एक बाइक खरीद लो, हमें लीज पे दे दो, राइट? आपको हम 20% IRR देंगे, विच इज़ गुड, राइट, फॉर देम. और आप ग्रीन एसेट में इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हो, आपको भी थोड़ा सा प्राउड मिलेगा, और ये स्टार्टअप ग्रो कर रहा है, आपको अच्छे पैसे मिल जाएंगे. आप 60,000 रुपये इन्वेस्ट करोगे, आपको 80,000 रुपये मिल जाएंगे 3 साल में. तो ये बहुत क्रेजी था, बट वी वर एट अबाउट 200-250 बाइक्स एंड वी वॉन्टेड टू डिप्लॉय 250-300 more. Within 3-4 months, we got people who invested in 300-400 bikes with us. There were people who were working in Sector 44 nearby who just were, following me on LinkedIn. Early jobbers, 2 years of experience. They came to our office to meet me and they said, sir, 5 bikes mein invest karna. Young people at a CTC of what, 12-15 lakhs or maybe MBAs, they invested in bikes. My mom invested in 10 bikes for the first time. She said, मैं भी डाल देती हूँ. My sister invested. तो मेरे friends जो कि school friends थे, never interacted. They said, ये अच्छा लग रहा है आकाश, we'll invest. तो बड़ा मज़ा आया, मतलब. And then obviously a lot of people whom I don't know, they also reached out. Someone invested in 200 bikes. I will invest. So that's what, the power of, I would say, cohesive effort and optimism helps you in. That आप अपना काम अच्छे से करते रहो, होता रहेगा चीज़ें. That's what I
And काश नहीं रहेगा.
feel. Yes, बिल्कुल नहीं रहेगा.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Akash, for being here. And, like, thanks for telling that what it actually went behind creating what you have created. Because I also feel that at the moment in the country, there are so many startups, if we talk about in the EV space only. Some are growing, some we are already seeing, and there will be so many coming out from so many states. So, like, what would be your final message for them? Because the person sitting right here has done it. You were not born with a silver spoon. You were, like, you created everything yourself. So what would be your message for someone who is in this space and just starting out?
See, I think the sooner you start, it's better. But I would also say that it's a journey which is, you'll have to tread your feet on the fire, right? No doubt about it. And you will have to sacrifice, right? If you want to be a founder, you want to really be successful, you have to forget. And I just say that a little in an exaggerated way because people only see the good things, right? People only find that, oh, there's so much funding happening, there's so much success, there's so much feel good factor in the startup world. It all comes once you really slog yourself. So be ready for it and be optimistic. Don't leave in the middle. uh, Learn a lot from what people are telling you, right? वो बहुत important है, because as founders a lot of times people are closed mind, right? Because they feel that whatever I am doing is right, but वो सही नहीं है. You need to keep listening, talking to people, sharing your thoughts, and then maybe someone is not directly saying that you're not doing the right thing, but they are kind of guiding you, nudging you, or questioning you. So every question, even when you're doing a pitch to a VC and you see a lot of no's, right? The questions which are in those conversations will guide you to the right path, right? वो आपको cognizance open रखना पड़ेगा. And have a great team, very very important, right? To create people around you who can balance you out, keep you grounded, as well as at the same time guide you, or find what you don't do well, and then someone else can do that better for you. And yes, be dogged. You'll find a way.
Thank you so much, and thank you for being with us today.
Oh, thank you so
Thank you.
much, at the Climapreneur Show.
Thank you.
Thank you.